Hi there, you're listening to What's New Today, a podcast channel that brings news stories that are fun and engaging. We tell stories that bring a smile to our listeners' faces. Now, this is your host Sangeeta from India, and in this episode, I'm joined by two curious young minds.
Hi, I'm Rushilanjan. I'm in 4th standard. I'm 9 years old and I live in Mumbai.
Hi, I'm Satvik. I study in 4th grade. I live in Mumbai, India, and I'm 10 years old.
Wow, welcome 9-year-old Rushil and 10-year-old Satvik. Satvik, I know we've chatted before on this podcast channel, and I'm very thrilled to have you again. Rushil, this is our first time. Welcome, Rushil. Are you nervous?
Yes, a little bit.
Okay, you know the secret? In today's episode, there's no preparation because I have not given any background to either one of you about what the news story is that we're going to be talking about. Instead, all you're going to rely is on your wits. So, does that make you a little less nervous?
Yeah, I'm a little excited too.
Awesome! Quick background to our listeners. Satvik and Rushil know nothing about the news story that we're going to talk about. Thankfully, I do know something, so I'm going to be able to guide them. So here's the format. I'm going to give them the first 2 sentences of this news story. After that, Rushil and Satvik can ask me any number of questions and they're going to uncover the rest of this news story. Ready?
Yes, ma'am, always.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Awesome. Okay, here goes the first couple of sentences. Researchers in Norway conducted a study on the brain activity of college students. They attached a small headset on each student. Some of the students were writing down their notes from their classes onto their notebook, and some others were completing their homework, typing onto a Google Doc. What do you think the researchers found when they studied the brain activity of these 2 groups of students? That's what you'll need to find out as part of today's news story.
Were they studious?
Yeah, all the students who were part of this research, they were very studious. I'm going to assume that.
Ma'am, so group 1 was having less exposure to the screen time compared to group 2.
That is correct, and that you and I will know by ourselves, right? They don't need a researcher in Norway to fit a headset onto the brains of these students to find out. So what do you think they found out? What is the primary difference in the activity? What activity is group 1 doing and what activity is group 2 doing? Think of that. That's my hint for both of you.
Group 1 is writing, whereas group 2 is typing.
Bingo! Now tell me, what do you think they found out? You're absolutely on the right track.
Ma'am, the group of researchers might have found out that group 1 is more active in outdoor activities, while group 2 is a bit less active compared to group 1.
Whoa, what an inference. Do you think that's true in real life? The children who write versus children who type, that's the difference you've observed?
Yeah, because whenever we write, we are concentrating and we are also doing an exercise, like we are moving a hand and we are also giving a good exercise to our fingers. While typing, so if we press a button, the letter comes on the sheet. So it is like comparatively less work to do while typing on a computer.
So kids who type are a little lazier than the kids who write. Is that an inference you'll make?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what the brain activity showed?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow! You know what? What you say may be true, but that is not what the researchers found. But yeah, what you're saying might be true in terms of what you're observing about children in the real world. And why only children, even adults?
The students who were writing, they had a good drawing because the more we write, the more we are flexible to draw anything. But the students who are typing, they will not move their hands much. So that's why their drawing will also not be good.
So all those children who can write well are all Picassos and Leonardo da Vinci's in the making. It's a nice, interesting inference. Huh? I'm learning a lot in the course of my conversation with both of you. But nope, this is not what the researchers found.
Ma'am, I also want to add a point to what I said like before, that the brain also seems active when we write as comparatively when we're writing on a computer or any electronic device.
Bingo, you're on the right track. Yes. I mean, you're very close
Okay.
to saying what the researchers found. So let me elaborate that because I don't know if y'all can stretch that point any further. Yes. So when they measured the brain activity of people when they are writing, they found that more parts of the brain get connected and are more active while you're writing. Whereas when you're typing, fewer parts of the brain are involved in the activity. So the brain overall is a lot less active when you're typing.
Is it like the students who are writing, they will be fully concentrated on the work they are doing, and the students who are typing, in between they will write their homework and then they will play some game and then again write.
You're saying that is the reason why there are fewer parts of their brain that are active. I don't think it was because their attention was lesser or they were less focused on the task. Let's assume that both of them were just focusing only on their work and were only doing it. But what you're saying in the real world is very true, that you tend to be more distracted when you have to submit something on a device than when you have to just write on your notebook and submit.
Yeah, ma'am. And also while writing, our eyes don't get that much pressure. But whenever we see some screen, it strains a lot, and we have to like get up every 5 minutes and wash our eyes and sit again.
Yeah, it's a bit of a pain. I could totally agree.
Yeah.
But yes, so we figured out the first part of this news story. So the first part is that researchers who fitted these headsets on students who were writing versus students who were typing, they found that the brain activity of a student, of a person who writes, is much more than the brain activity of a person who types. There's just one more part to this study that they found. They found something related to spellings. What do you think they found?
Yeah, ma'am. So as we all know, we make mistakes while writing. So the people who are like writing in the notebook, they are they have an experience of that spelling. But if we are typing like on our laptop or any other electronic device, there is a simple push of a button, that's backspace, and one letter or the whole word gets deleted. Yeah, and sometimes there are also spelling correctors, so that may affect them like that.
So who do you think is better at spelling? The ones who write or the ones who type?
The ones who write.
Rushil, what do you think?
The ones who write.
They are better at spelling? Yes, absolutely. So that's the second thing that these researchers found. But I don't know if the reason is because you have automatic spell checks, but because more parts of the brain come together when you're writing, apparently it also helps retain that information in your memory. The brain is more active, many more networks are involved. So it's able to remember and help you retain whatever you're learning, whatever you're writing. And in the process, it also helps you remember the spellings of individual words. You're able to recall those spellings much better when you're writing than when you're typing. Do you see adults today writing anything in a notebook?
Yeah, my mother writes the important things she comes across while reading a book.
Wow.
And I've seen many adults writing in a notebook or a notepad. And the first example I give is my father. When he does his work, of course he uses his laptop, but with that, if he wants to write some important notes, he uses his notepad.
Wow. Really very happy to hear that you all have such inspiring role models at home. That's a big shout out to Rushil's mother and Satvik's father. Very, very happy. Wonderful. Yes. So shall we move on to quiz time? Satvik, what do you want to ask?
How many groups of college students were there as part of the study?
There were two groups. The first group was writing the notes, and the second group was typing their homework on the Google Doc.
Rushil, what is your question?
Where was the brain more active, writing or in typing?
The brain is more active while writing.
The third and the last question from me. Which helps spelling recall better? Does writing help spelling recall better, or does typing help it better?
Writing helps it better.
Ma'am, because whenever we are writing, a larger part of the brain is involved in writing.
Absolutely fabulous. As we were unraveling and discussing today's news story, has it changed your opinion on anything? Did you think before that there was going to be any difference at all, whether you were writing your homework or whether you were typing it and submitting it?
I never thought.
No, I didn't think that there is any difference
earlier.
Yeah.
But now we all know that when you write, you actually retain whatever you write much better than when you type that same information onto a screen. So I hope we've done a lot of good to the world, especially to children who are listening to this episode.
This is for the teachers who are listening this episode. Our teachers should give us less homework on like Google Docs.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Before we wrap up, is there one episode on What's New Today that you'd like to recommend to our listeners?
I like the Zambian one because many people did not pay attention to the black people, and she also made an institute called the Black Morbid Institute. So it mesmerized me.
Wow, I'm very happy that you liked that episode. I didn't know until I recorded that episode that people from Africa don't really venture into the sea much. You'll find a lot more whites who do these adventure sports, and Africans don't. While they're fabulous runners and hikers and all of that, but somehow swimming is something that they've always stayed away from. I was very intrigued when I recorded that episode. I'm very glad that you had an opportunity to listen to that episode, and you're recommending it to other listeners too. So it must have been a good story that really touched a nerve in your heart. Yes, Satvik, what did you love?
Ma'am, I liked the season 1 episode 104, which was about high sea PT. I liked it because first I didn't know what was high sea fishing. So I got a lot of information like what is the coastline of a normal country, that is 200 nautical miles. So I got that after listening that episode, and I also got to know that there are people who go and fish in the high seas.
Wow, so it was very informative.
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Satvik and Rushil. I had a lot of fun, and I was very intrigued that Rushil automatically assumed one group was more studious than the other the moment I said writing versus typing. And I hope to have both of you on this show again. Please continue to listen very, very regularly. Pick up the phone whenever you're free and listen to episodes. Yeah? New episodes on What's New Today come out every Monday and Friday. And if you, like Rushil or Satvik, enjoy listening to What's New Today, drop me a note, give me your feedback, leave your comments either on Spotify itself, if you're listening to this on Spotify. If you're listening to it on any other podcast channel, write to me via email at hello@wsnt.in. And children from anywhere in the world, if you'd like to be a part of this, just like Rushil and Satvik, you can go click on register me as a co-host. You can find that link in the show notes.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, ma'am. Bye.